Diego Ortiz had been a firefighter for almost 9 years, and by now he could usually tell within minutes how bad a call was going to be. The moment his engine turned onto the narrow residential street, he knew this one was bad. Thick black smoke was already pouring from the upper floor of a 3-story row house, and flames had broken through 2 of the front windows, licking up toward the roofline. The crew moved fast, falling into the routine they'd practiced hundreds of times. Diego and his partner pulled hose toward the front of the building, while the captain coordinated with the ladder crew working to ventilate the roof. Neighbors had gathered across the street, some filming on their phones, others helping an elderly couple from the building next door get clear of the smoke that was starting to drift toward their windows too. As Diego adjusted his position to get a better angle on the fire, something in the building right next to the burning house caught his eye. In one of the upper windows behind the glass, a man was standing perfectly still, watching the fire. Not panicking, not trying to get out, just watching, with an expression Diego couldn't quite read from the street. It struck Diego as strange. Every other resident on that side of the block had already come outside, worried about the smoke spreading. This man hadn't moved, hadn't opened a window, hadn't called out for help. Diego glanced away for a moment to help guide the hose line, and when he looked back up at the window, the man was gone. For the next hour, Diego stayed focused on the fire itself, which took nearly 40 minutes to bring fully under control. By the time the flames were out and the smoke had thinned to a haze, the row house was badly damaged, with the top 2 floors gutted. As the crew began packing up, Diego mentioned the man in the window to his captain, half expecting to be told it was nothing. Instead, his captain's expression changed. He asked Diego to point out exactly which window, then radioed it into the police officers who were already on scene managing the crowd. A few minutes later, 2 officers knocked on the door of that apartment. There was no answer, and the building manager confirmed the unit had been rented out only a few weeks earlier to a man who kept odd hours and rarely interacted with neighbors. When the manager let officers inside with a master key, the apartment was empty, but one thing stood out immediately. A window facing the burning row house was propped wide open, and a folding chair had been set up directly in front of it, angled toward the building next door. On a small table beside the chair sat a pair of binoculars and a notebook filled with handwritten notes about delivery schedules, lights left on at night, and which windows in the row house didn't have curtains. Fire investigators who later examined the burned row house found something else. The point where the fire had started wasn't near any wiring or appliances, but in a closet on the 2nd floor, the same closet where the homeowners kept a small safe. The safe was found open and emptied, and traces of an accelerant were found nearby, suggesting the fire had been set deliberately in the same area where a burglary had clearly already taken place. Detectives pieced together what had likely happened. The man next door had spent weeks watching the row house, learning the family's schedule. While they were away, he broke in, emptied the safe, and set the fire before leaving, hoping the blaze would destroy any trace of the break-in. He had stayed just long enough to watch it catch before slipping away unnoticed. Using the notebook, security footage from a nearby store, and a partial fingerprint left on the window frame, investigators identified a suspect within days, a man with a history of similar break-ins in nearby neighborhoods. He was arrested at a motel 2 towns over, with several items from the safe still in his bag. What do you think tipped Diego off that something was wrong with that man in the window? Let us know in the comments below.